Hi, I'm Silverpaw, and today I'm bringing you Chapter 8 of Detention, a Kingdom Hearts fan fiction. Now before we get started, I just want to remind you guys that if you like the video, leave a like, and if you dislike the video, leave a dislike. They all help me out in the long run. Anyways, let's get started. They stayed lying down for nearly an hour before Axel's cell phone rang. He let out a small sigh, his arm leaving Roxas and snaking down into his pocket. When he answered his cell phone, Roxas could feel the redhead's breath against his neck as he spoke. Oh, yeah. Hi, Dad. What's up? No, it's just... No, just that you never call me unless something's wrong. Is Mom okay? What about Reno and Kyrie? Everything's fine? Well, then I don't get it. He fell silent for a long time, and Roxas could hear the small sound of a voice talking through the phone. Oh, really? I mean... Well, it's just unusual, Dad. I'm not complaining or anything. Okay. I'll be home soon. Hey, can I bring a friend? Yeah, that's where I am right now. No, it's not Demix. A new friend. You haven't met him yet. Yes. Dad, no. Yeah. Give me about half an hour. I'm across town. Yeah, Dad, all the way across town. Dad, that's mean. Yeah, okay. Goodbye. He hung up the phone and put it back in his pocket. Want to come to my house for dinner with my delightfully insane family? Dinner? With your family? Yeah, Axel answered, nuzzling his face back into Roxas' neck, his breath hot and tickling against the skin. My dad's not really home, at all. He has the night off tonight, and my ma got all excited and she wants us to have a family dinner. So why would you invite me? Roxas asked, confused, if it's a family thing. Axel sighed and tightened his arms around the blonde. My dad said it's fine, and I'd probably die if I was forced to deal with my whole family at the same time all by myself. Please, Roxy, come with me. Roxas sighed and nodded. Alright, I'll come. Great! Axel pulled himself into a sitting position and pulled Roxas after him. We have to leave right now, though, because they're expecting me in half an hour. Roxas nodded. You go out ahead then. I've got to talk to Leon, alright? Axel nodded, kissing his cheek and setting off outside. Roxas located his brother in the kitchen, staring at a slip of paper which Roxas assumed was Axel's check. Hey, I'm gonna go hang out at Axel's house tonight. I don't know what time I'll be home, so don't chain the door, please. Leon nodded and sighed. I think I'm gonna send Namine and Sora home with Zekshin, if he can take them, Leon said. Roxas nodded, feeling slightly uncomfortable with the thought that his brother might not eat that night. He went to Axel's truck, staying silent as the redhead began to drive. It was strange how comfortable he was with Axel after only knowing him for such a short while. They'd only met 3 days before, and Axel was already claiming that he cared for Roxas, and Roxas knew that he cared for Axel. They were dating and they hardly knew each other. Still, there was just something about Axel that made him want to keep the redhead around. It was an inexplicable feeling, but Roxas liked it. Hey, would you reach into the glove department and grab me a cigarette? Only if I can have one too, Roxas asked, already searching for the cigarettes. Sure, go ahead. When Roxas finally located them, he took two out, threw the rest of the pack back into the glove compartment. Axel held out a hand, flame dancing in his palm, eyes never leaving the road. Slightly perturbed, Roxas lit the cigarettes on the flame, handing one to Axel. And they were quiet again for a long time, being all the way in North Twilight Town where the rich half lived before Axel spoke again. Roxy, can you do me a favor? No, don't get offended or anything, but we shouldn't mention us in front of my dad, he said quietly. Roxas nodded. Sure, you said your dad's pretty homophobic, right? Axel nodded with a sigh. Yeah, thanks for understanding. The blonde let out a dull laugh. I've been dealing with these assholes for years, Ax. I'm almost perfected it to an art. Roxas took a drag on a cigarette, his lungs feeling great relief after going so long without one. He figured he should quit, but thinking about all the time it would take, not to mention the headaches and sickness he acquired after too long without nicotine, it really didn't seem worth it. Axel turned onto the street holding the biggest house he'd ever seen. Quite literally, the house took up an entire block all by itself. It was made of white brick with pillars at the front. There had to be at least 100 windows lining the front edifice, and a large expanse of perfectly green lawn stretched out in front of the house with a perfectly manicured garden pressed up against the front of it. A high black iron fence, the front gate, having a guard station to one side, surrounded the place. A long driveway led up to circle around the side of the house, so Roxas assumed that the front door was hardly ever used. He was well aware that his jaw was hanging open, but he couldn't unfreeze himself to close his mouth. When he was finally able to speak, he muttered, "So, this is how the other half lives." Axel let out a laugh that didn't sound very amused as he pulled up to the guardhouse, waving to the man sitting inside as the gate swung inward, admitting them to the mansion that, in Roxas' opinion, greatly resembled the White House in Washington, D.C. It's a bit melodramatic, isn't it? My dad thinks it shows power. I think it makes us look like arrogant pricks. Axel snorted, sounding disgusted. They reached the top of the driveway and rounded the house. Roxas could see now that the driveway had led to a larger garage that was bigger than his house. The same pristine white as the mansion looming to the side of him. "Alright," Axel sighed as he pulled into a space in the garage. "Here's the lowdown. My dad's an asshole and he doesn't like people having their own opinions. He's just rude enough to most likely ignore you. But if he actually does acknowledge your presence, try to stay polite and don't lose your cool. I can't tell you how many times Dimmix has been escorted off the premises because my dad doesn't like him. My ma is a kind of docile lamb. She'll be the redhead sitting to my right of my father, nodding her head and smiling, jumping when he says jump. Kyrie is, if not a nagging little bitch, mostly a sweet kid. I think she's about Sora's age. Reno..." Axel sighed and shook his head, but Roxas could see the amused smirk on his lips. "Reno is a piece of work, to put it simply. He's annoying as hell, but he's wicked funny and sarcastic though, so you shouldn't mind him too much. You got all that?"
Hey, wait a minute.
Roxas thought for a second and summarized. "Your dad's an ass, your mom is passive, Kyrie's barely a preteen, and Reno is an idiot." Axel grinned. "Perfect. I knew you'd get it, Roxy." He let out a deep breath and closed his eyes for a moment. "Well, let's go. I'm only prolonging the inevitable." Roxas chewed his bottom lip uncertainly. "Is it going to be that bad, Ax?" The redhead let out another hollow laugh. "Right now, there really is no saying. It all depends on the variables. We'll just have to see, and hopefully you'll still want to be around me after this is over." They were silent for a moment before Roxas looked at his boyfriend in confusion. "Why did you invite me if you're so worried?" Axel laughed and shrugged. "I don't know. Moment of insanity, I guess. Still, I'm glad you're here." Roxas smiled at him, hoping it looked more confident than he felt. They got out of the truck and headed up the path to the side door of the house. Roxas had to resist the urge to crane his neck to find the top. "So, how many rooms are in this place anyway?" he asked as Axel let him in through the side door. "I couldn't tell you. In fact, I've only ever been in a few of them. I try not to go to places I don't recognize. I'd probably get lost." Roxas snorted. "There's something wrong when you could potentially get lost in your own house." "Ain't that the truth?" As soon as the door opened, a man in the suit converged upon them. "Hello, Axel. Welcome home," he greeted. "Who's your friend?" "Hey, Tom," he greeted with a small smile. "This is Roxas." "Nice to meet you, Roxas." He held out his arm as if offering it to a woman, and Roxas looked at him in confusion. "Give him your jacket, Roxas," Axel instructed with a small laugh, depositing his own leather jacket over the man's arm and dropping his car keys in Tom's hand. "Your family is waiting in the formal dining room," Tom informed them, making his way away with their jackets and Axel's keys. "Hey, is it really that hard to hang up your own jacket and keys?" Roxas asked. "No, it isn't, but it's Tom's job, and he gets paid a lot of frickin' money to do it, so I figure he might as well do what he's getting paid for." "And what did he mean, formal dining room?" "Well, he meant that we're eating in the formal dining room instead of the regular one." "You have 2 dining rooms?" Roxas asked in a moment of shock. "And 3 living rooms, 2 dens, a bajillion bedrooms, 10 bathrooms. Should I go on?" "Really, you saw the outside of this house. I'd say at least 10 families could comfortably live in this house. It's all over the top and obnoxious." "Yeah, I guess so." They came upon a large pair of double doors placed in the very center of the hallway. "Prepare yourself, Roxy. My family lies just beyond these doors." Axel himself took a long breath and rearranged his face. He suddenly looked detached and disinterested, almost as if he was unbearably bored. "Show no emotion, Roxas, and we might survive the night," were his last instructions before he opened the doors in a sweeping stroke.